Linchpin. A song from the 2013 album American Blues by the American rock band The Starkillers. Now what in the world does a 12-year-old song from a band that hasn't been active in 10 years have anything to do with Arknights? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Or rather, it's like me presenting my conspiratory ramblings on how there's a possibility that this one song has shaped much of the world and story of Arknights as we know it. Now, a lot of this is gonna be a stretch, and I'm exaggerating it just so that I could make that title. I also highly doubt that we would ever have confirmation of this, but maybe you'll find it like at least intriguing or interesting or something. Before we start, spoiler warning. There will be spoilers for the newest stuff on the global server and also the ARGs tied to that stuff. Now to start off, I'd like to play you the start of both the Chapter 15 trailer track as well as the start to Linchpin. Now, they're not exactly the same, of course, but I feel like there's a similarity to the sound and the, for lack of a better word, vibe of the songs. This is how I actually found the song originally. A member on my Discord shared this Reddit post by user 30,000 light years pointing out the similarities. And that's where my spiral began. So let's get to the obvious thing here. The name Linchpin. This probably stuck out instantly for anyone familiar with the third ARG for Arknights. As of Chapter 15 and the ARG connected to it, the term Linchpin is heavily tied to Priestess and by extension her relationship to Doctor. The final phase of the third ARG is the Linchpin questionnaire, where Priestess performs a sort of psychological assessment on the player, which then unlocks one of two possible scenes in the player's game in Chapter 15. And these two scenes both touch upon what Linchpin is within the universe. I'll just borrow Doctor's words directly for this one. Technology born in a lost age, used to strengthen our thoughts and conviction. Without it, many would lose the will needed to make it through that period of endless despair. There's also these lines from Priestess. The identical linchpins embedded in our minds are what tie us together. Our minds are inseparably linked until our consciousnesses follow suit with the universe's demise. So clearly the name of the song can be pretty easily connected to some important aspects, namely Priestess and Doctor, two of the most important characters to the story and world of Arknights. But what else is there? Here I would like to take a moment to look at the lyrics for Linchpin, and hopefully show how on the nose some of these lyrics are for like the dynamic between Priestess and Doctor. I won't go for all of them, but if you would like to see all of my thoughts written down, you can like pause now or something. So like I said, I won't go through all of them, but I'll pick out a couple here that I want to specifically talk about. First up, this one here. I know I've failed, but I tried my best. If only I could touch the hem of your dress. The failure could refer to the Originium project and Doctor's broken promise to Priestess, the betrayal they did against her. But then the second line indicating this deep-seated longing Doctor still feels toward Priestess, despite the memory loss and her current sort of antagonistic position in the story. Next up, there's this line of, I was a pivot, you are a linchpin. Obviously, linchpin just being mentioned again, and how I've read all of these lyrics is essentially Doctor speaking towards or about Priestess. So here, calling Priestess a linchpin, linchpin is very heavily tied to Priestess. It sort of seems to almost be a bit of an extra code name to her in a lot of the, especially ARG stuff. So then in that case, I was a pivot, I would be referring to Doctor or Oracle. And a pivot is a person or thing on which something depends, the central or crucial factor. Could also refer to Doctor sort of pivoting his allegiance or view on the Originium project. And of course Priestess, the linchpin, the central cohesive source of stability and security, a person or thing that is critical to a system or organization. This is a bit more speculation on my end, but Priestess almost seems to be very central to the functioning of Originium in some way. And I'm sure we're going to learn more about that later in the game. And now, of course, linchpin has a very direct meaning within the universe of Arknights as well, that we talked about earlier. Next up is probably my favorite set of lyrics from the song. You don't know me now, but you know who I've been. If you could stay, you could love me again. And I mean, I think the parallels here between Doctor and Priestess are pretty obvious and incredibly on the nose. Priestess doesn't know the current Doctor, after all the amnesia, but she was uniquely familiar with Oracle, who Doctor used to be. They had this relationship that was so close it crossed physical borders into like the metaphysical. A relationship defined by almost being undefinable. And I think the second line is kind of about their current broken relationship and the conflict between them. And I feel like at least I get this sense that Doctor believes that if Priestess would have the chance to come to know the current them and Terra along with them, she could come to love the new them, the new world and its people. And I feel we even get some hints of this, actually, in the newest event, Masses Travels. But this may tragically never come to be because of their conflict in views and priorities, hence the "if you could stay," as Priestess's current plan is incompatible with the survival of Terra as we know it. And then the last line in the song, "I haven't forgotten you need carrying too, I'm the heaviest burden that ever you knew." Just more visualization of the reciprocal relationship between Priestess and Doctor. A mutually burdensome but caring dynamic. And despite Doctor having forgotten almost everything, the imagery, the influence, the importance of Priestess to who they were, survived and resurfaced, even after the amnesia. So, as I said before, I hope it's clear just how applicable some of these lyrics are to the relationship between Priestess and Doctor, at times almost perfectly describing the past and current situation between them. So we have a song name and a set of lyrics that are strangely relevant to one of the most important pairs of characters in Arknights, all in a song with musical similarity to the trailer track for Chapter 15, the chapter where the relationship between Priestess and Doctor has never been more salient. And just as an aside, the trailer track used for Chapter 15 is actually like a unique trailer track for the chapter. You know, usually the trailer track's like a boss track or something from the event or the chapter. This one, it's a completely unique track just for the trailer. But that's it, right? What about that band name? The Star Killers? As if my thirst for dubious connections wasn't enough, I think the band name can also be connected to something. The Observers. Now in Chapter 15 we do meet a being who said that they ate stars for sustenance, but I don't think that quite fits the vibe here. It's the Star Killers. Seems to fit the existential civilization deleting threat of the Observers a little bit more. And it doesn't end there anyway. So the band Star Killers, they later changed their name to Forester. If you look up the meaning of Forester, what you get is that it's an English surname based on forester, someone who practices forestry, managing forests. Let's also quickly look at the album art that I showed at the beginning. Seems to be a bunch of tree stumps. There are remains of trees having been cut down. Makes sense for a forester, I guess. And you ARG heads have already probably connected the dots by now. In Phase 2 of the third ARG, we unlock a voice recording by Oracle, talking about various pre-civilization projects. But the last part of this recording is named The Lumberer, in which Oracle describes a lumberjack diligently cutting down trees in a forest. This is an analog by Oracle comparing the Observers to that of a lumberjack, uncaringly cutting down trees in a forest as they extinguish civilizations. Forester to lumberjack to lumberer. The Observers, the Star Killers. The name of the band, both the original and after the name change, and even the album cover, can be seen as describing the Observers, the ultimate threat at the end of everything, and what destroyed the previous civilization, putting Doctor and Priestess into the situation they are in now, the catalyst for everything that would come to happen on Terra. So somehow, a song by an obscure rock band, released 6 years before Arknights, perfectly encapsulates some of the crucial driving forces and characters in the story and world of Arknights. That's my conspiracy. If any of this is true, I mean, all I have left to say is, low light, I kneel. If you're still here, thanks for watching all the way. Like I kind of said at the start, this is the all insane speculation, heavily influenced by hindsight and assigning meaning to things after the fact. But coming up with all these connections was kind of fun, so hey. If you want to see more stuff like this, don't subscribe, because there's no guarantees I make more. This was kind of a spark of obsession that made me do this, so yeah. But if you like me yapping, then hop into some of the streams that I do every week. Okay, bye.